everyone, this is Sweta Tuladhar from Atu's online study, and today I'm going to give you my presentation on theories of global governance. And here I'm going to discuss about realism, liberalism, and constructivism. For helping me to do this presentation, I would like to thank Ms. Jaya Paudel and Ms. Srijana Shrestha. Realism. This theory regards power and national interest as important elements in international politics. According to Dunn and Schmidt, in 2000, sovereign states are unitary and rational actors in international system, and they compete with each other for power and security. Statism, anarchy, survival, self-help, security dilemma, and balance of power are the central elements and core concerns of realism. The core ideas of realism thoughts are as follows. The world is made up of states. They are the most important actors of world politics. They are the supreme authority. World politics is essentially a struggle among interested states for survival, security, and power and relative capabilities. Every state has an obligation to promote its national interest associated with the acquisition of power to enhance self-preservation and maximize power and security. States are not equal in terms of power. Powerful or stronger states dominate powerless or weaker states. There is insecurity and lawlessness in the international system due to absence of higher regulatory authority to curb conflict and wars in the international system by which states can protect themselves and resolve their disputes. Each state is responsible for maintaining its own survival and national security since conflict and struggle for power cannot be controlled. Sufficient military capabilities and arms to defeat potential enemies, to exercise influence over others, and to maintain their own preservations. Economic growth determine the power of state. International organizations have no enforcement power and impact over the actions of state and the nature of world politics. In an anarchical international environment, the primary objective of all states is survival, and hence they try to maintain security. Some powerful states make an attempt for territory expansion by defeating head of the states in the war. More territories do they expand, more powerful they become. Realism asserts that in an environment of looming threats and spiral of insecurities in the world, states must seek to survive by checking the power of the opposing side. This theory has been severely criticized by the liberals and constructivists for its narrow and partial view of international politics on following grounds. Realists neglect important aspects of international relations such as cooperation, values, and beliefs of people in international relations. It gives selfish impression of state as it suggests to use their power to advance their own interest rather than to promote friendship, cooperation, and collaboration to promote their mutual gains. It's pessimistic about the possibility for eliminating conflicts and war within the international system. It holds hard and cruel nature of international relations and global governance. In this age of globalization, there is interdependency among states. An idea of realism is irrelevant in present context. Despite these shortcomings, many people believe in realist view as it focuses on power and the importance of sovereign states in the world politics. Liberalism theory has been called strongest contemporary challenge to realism. Liberal theory views international relations as the study of interactions among individuals, groups, and societies beyond the formal relations between governments. In the globalized world, liberalism assumes that international relations involve peaceful interactions among various actors and global issues can be settled by the means of global cooperation and joint efforts. Core concern of this theory is bringing about peace and collective gains among the states by means of coordination through rules and organizations. In the 20th century, after the end of the First World War, the Covenant of the League of Nations, that is 14 point proposal by Woodrow Wilson was based on liberalism. Following were the basic and common assumptions of liberalism about international relations and global governance. Nation states are main actors but not the sole actors in the international relations. Other actor includes international institutes, global cooperation. Cooperation among national states is essential for a peaceful international system. World politics is a struggle for consensus and mutual benefits rather than a struggle for power. Various actors interact with each other, agree some common rules, norms, and recognize their common interest. Their greater independence, communication, interaction, and democratic values promote greater cooperation, which in turn brings peace, security, and justice in the world. Conflict reduction practices and norms used in any state can be used when dealing with international disputes. Modes of bringing peace and collective benefit in the world are democracy, free trade, and global institutions. Democracy. Democratic nations prefer peaceful means of conflict resolution rather than war, and hence democratic states are more peaceful than other authoritarian states. Free trade. Free trade between countries increases communication, gradually destroys national selfishness, and encourages states to avoid conflicts. It creates interdependencies among states that in turn encourages fair cooperation, promotes a cooperative international order as well as peace, prosperity, and justice in the world. Global institutions. Global institutions like the UN, the WTO, the IMF, EU etc. can create laws and norms that are binding on their members, which in turn change the patterns of international politics. They could help overcome selfish state behavior by encouraging them for the greater benefit of continued cooperation rather than immediate gains. Liberalism has been criticized on the ground that it has not exceeded its idealist heritage. Some of the criticisms made are: democratic states may slide back to another form of non-democratic and authoritarian forms. Free trade and interdependence may not ensure cooperation as claimed by them. Global institutions have minimal influence over the behavior of states and they control their behavior according to balance of power logic. Liberalism appear in the low political arena, that is, global issues related to economic, social, cultural, democratic, and environment rather than high political arena, that is, international peace and security. States can cooperate among themselves on the basis of their own decisions and self-national interest. As mentioned in realist theory, no state can avoid self-help and the security dilemma. Constructivism. Many scholars and students of international relations have turned to constructivism after the failure of realism and liberalism to anticipate the event of the end of the Cold War in the early 1990s. The idea of constructivism were popularized by Alexander Wendt in 1992. Realism and liberalism both tend to focus on how material factors such as military power, economic wealth, and trade affect relation among states and world politics. In contrast to this, constructivism focuses on how the world revolves around social ideas and shared understanding which have significant impact on world politics. The key tenets of constructivism can be summarized as follows. The international system is a set of ideas, thoughts, and beliefs arranged by people in the past. Social world is the world of human consciousness, that is, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and understanding among human and group of human beings. Therefore, these influences world politics. Constructivist views that national identity, national interest, and behavior of actors such as individuals and states are socially defined and socially constructed. State functions in social environment because society gives meaning to many core concepts such as anarchy, power, national interest, and security dilemma. Sovereignty of states is the most important institution in international society. Constructivists view state sovereignty as a changing phenomenon. Global institutions are the norm setters and creators. They socialize states to accept new norms, values, and beliefs in the international system. Thus, they serve as an agent of social constructions which has independent effect on international relations. It holds that actors other than states matter in the world affairs. However, they are influenced by who they are and how they perceive themselves and others. Constructivism in general focuses on three key ideas, and they are interest, ideas, and norms. Interest. It refers to goals which are defined by the society and social groups. For example, two enemies become friends without change in material factors. Identities. It refers to actors' perceptions of who they are and what their roles. Identities are socially conducted. Norms are shared rules and moral principles that define how actors should behave in the global affairs. Constructivists emphasize the roles of socially constructed ideas and intangible factors in global affairs since they play important roles in shaping interest and behaviors of actors. It holds that actors other than states matter in the world affairs. However, they are influenced by who they are and how they perceive themselves and others. Here are some limitations of constructivism, and they are: constructivists are good at describing change in ideas, thoughts, and shared beliefs lead to change in world politics and in international system, but they are aware on explaining the causes of change that lead to change in ideas and shared understanding. That is, how, when, and why do such changes emerge. It is also argued that it is an approach, not a theory of international relations, because it could not deal with real and serious matters of international relations. For example, the theory of culture cannot explain and replace the theory of politics. So, it was pleasure for me to share my knowledge via Atu's online study channel. More of the educational videos are on the way, so do press like button, share button, and subscribe button. And do leave your valuable comments in comment box so that it would help us to improve our weakness and maintain better sides of us. So, thank you.